So what you do is every day, and you could take your calendar for this, you mark down a little box, and you have a W and an L, which stands for win, loss. So then you check that off. So at the end of the day, you're like, okay, did I go to the gym today? Oh, shoot, no. You know what? What about, did I work and enjoyed what I did today? Yeah, I thought I was pretty productive. Okay, what about eating? I didn't have a good breakfast. The lunch was okay. So then at night, you take that moment. So let's say you didn't go to the gym. It's like, look, I'm here right now, present, right in this moment. I'm going to start doing some push-ups. I'm going to feel better about myself. So that loss, there would have been that loss. You change it to a W because it's going to be a win.
Welcome to the It's Not That Deep podcast. I'm your host, Deepak Sharma, and this week I sit down with Tony Greco, one of the founders of Greco Fitness Studios, a boutique gym with circuit-style fitness classes. Greco has over 16 locations in the Ottawa and Toronto area and is expanding across North America like a wildfire. Tony's also a celebrity personal trainer, and he trains the likes of Claude Giroux of the Philadelphia Flyers, Mike Fisher of the Nashville Predators, as well as Mike's wife, Carrie Underwood. On top of this, Tony's also an IAKSA kickboxing gold medalist, a motivational speaker, radio host, life coach, author, and so much more. Like, Tony's just an incredible guy. He's been doing a lot of stuff in the community as well. We had an awesome chat about the role of failure in success, the process of starting, managing, franchising, and eventually selling a successful gym, applying methods that he uses with peak performing athletes, with non-athletes as well. And we also touch on mindfulness, nutrition, and so much more. This episode is jam-packed with amazing content. Guys, I love making content like this for you guys, and I'm sure you love listening. So why don't you show me some love by subscribing on all my platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Sharing it on your social media helps as well. Leave me a comment, a rating, a review, or even put your money where your mouth is and contribute to my Patreon page. Every little bit helps. I appreciate all your support, and I really want you to enjoy this episode. Remember, it's not that deep. Thank you.
Let's do it.
Tony, welcome to the It's Not That Deep podcast, man.
Yeah, nice to be here.
Really nice to have you on, man. You're a super interesting guy. You're known across Canada and North America, and maybe the world as well, as one of the leading fitness icons. But you're so much more than that. You're a motivational speaker, celebrity trainer. You've trained people like Mike Fisher, and his wife, Carrie Underwood. You're a radio host, a life coach, author of a book that you have out, and founder of Greco Fitness. So I'm sure we could sit here and talk about your accolades all day. But I actually want to first start and get to know your background a little bit. Let's take it back to when you were a child. You're of Italian descent. Let's talk about that a little bit. And, how'd you really get into fitness to begin with?
Wow, that's a good question. Well, I'm Italian. I came into Canada in 1976.
76.
So I didn't have any idea on how to speak the language. Still having difficulty speaking the language. But,
sound pretty good to me, man.
But I grew up with a poor family. I mean, we had a farm in Italy, and my mom and dad would sell the odd animal on a weekend, kind of go down in the main part of the city because we were like right in southern Italy.
Right.
And that's kind of how we made our money. So when we came to Canada in 1976, we had $500 in a suitcase, and my mother's brother brought us here, said, hey, look, come to Ottawa. It's developing. It's a place where you could raise a family. So sure enough, we migrated here. We rented a house on McLeod Street, which is in Centertown, Ottawa.
Yeah.
And then, went to school. They put me in school like kind of halfway through the year. So it was very tough for me to actually learn the language. But, so that's basically what happened. And then, I knew that obviously, being brought up in a family where it's like we have to do things and kind of having your back against the wall. So for me, it was like, listen, you know what? It's time to get up and do something that's going to be good for you. And my passion was actually football. I started playing football.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
What
And
position did you play?
I was running back.
Oh, no
Yeah.
way.
So I
That's
remember
awesome.
my buddy when I first came here was like, you got to come try out. And I'm like, I don't even know what this game's all about. It's like, don't worry, you just got to run fast. And we got the equipment the first night, and it was pretty exciting. So I started playing football. I loved the game because I was like 6 years old when I started. Went through all the way through high school, and played partial in university, and I had really good years. Like in high school, I went to Glebe Collegiate.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, and then I played in the East.
I remember playing against them in high school and stuff.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah?
I played football a lot as well. So that's super awesome to hear
Yeah.
that. It's very relatable.
Yeah, and I loved it. And then it's like, I didn't start. It was the first year I actually didn't start when I left at Glebe. So I took a year off, and then my business partner Paulo, we decided to get into martial arts.
Okay.
So that's kind of how everything kind of evolved. They started in the martial arts, and then we kind of started the fitness, locations, and started the fitness field later on.
And you might be a little too humble to admit it, but I mean, you didn't just dabble in martial arts. You won a kickboxing championship at one point. The year I was born in '95.
Really?
Correct?
Wow.
Talk to us about that a little bit. And how'd you get that far and deep into kickboxing? How did it just become a passion?
Yeah, well, when I actually stopped playing football, I really took the martial arts seriously. Like I took that as kind of like a balance to increase my flexibility and obviously, strengthen my mind and create a really, really good form of discipline. So I really credit a lot of stuff I did in the martial arts. The main thing I credit, and you're right, winning a gold medal isn't easy. So what we did is we trained 2.5 years straight, every single day, sometimes even on Sundays.
Jeez.
And I remember the fight like it was yesterday. It was 23 opponents we had to beat. It was IAKSA Federation, which is International Sports Karate Amateur Association. And you had to win. So I remember the fight was 23 minutes long. It was against a guy from Austria. And I got kicked in the face, bleeding nose. And then we were I think maybe 18 minutes into the fight.
Jeez.
And then I remember my corner coach, just kind of waking me up. I'm like, I can't lose this fight. I know I trained hard on this guy.
Yeah.
And it taught me, to not give up.
That mental fortitude.
I can't, people that have won a title, a gold medal can relate to it. But I always tell people, everybody's got a plan until, Mike Tyson always says, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face. Well, I got kicked in the face. But,
That's even stronger.
and it's it's about getting back up because that's the only time when you quit. And people were telling me, they're like, you should stop now and all this kind of stuff. Because prior to that, I actually took a shot to the jaw.
Okay.
I had my jaw wired for a month.
Jeez.
And they were like, you got to stop. And, because I was competing every month on a national tournament. That's how you got your ratings. So I'd be traveling all throughout the States. And I only started really winning, when I got my black belt. I lost so many times.
Jeez.
And the reason why I mention this is because people that are listening, I want to encourage them that, you only pretty much lose when you quit.
Yeah.
I had my first white belt fight. I remember it was in Gatineau. It lasted 30 seconds. I'm like, because it was points. So I'm like, I go into this tournament and it's like, boom, boom, boom. And it's like, it was over. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, the guy won. It was 3-0. I'm like, that's it? It was like the fight was over. So, I mean, and then, you start learning the ropes. You start getting better and better. But I got seeded 4th in North America as a black belt. And that's when I went to the Worlds and competed for Team Canada and won a gold medal. So, I mean, there's a long journey.
Yeah.
But one thing I could encourage people is that you never quit.
That failure was part of the process.
The failure was part of the process. Yeah. And it's tough to teach to people because a lot of people are afraid to fail.
Yeah.
And
we're almost taught, growing up from our parents and, teachers and whatnot, that failure is a bad thing. Try not to fail. You better do good on that test, blah, blah, blah.
Totally.
But in real life, you realize that failure can also be, open up another door for you.
Totally
Yeah.
agree. And it's great that you mentioned that because I tell people fear nothing. Look at it as a lesson. But you're right, because during the upbringing of our childhood, that's exactly what we're taught.
Yeah.
Or we're also taught that we have to do things for other people. We often look at coaches like football coaches, our parents as mentors. And it's like, they tell us to not do this and do that. You should do this. You should do that. So we get these messages in our mind where we're trying to please others as opposed to pleasing us.
Yeah.
And the minute you realize that, look, this is about you, whatever it is that you want to do in life, and you could erase that blackboard in your mind, you're going to be so much further ahead of the game because you're going to be doing it for you.
That's powerful, and that's a big mindset shift that I think a lot more people are realizing now, but it's still not prevalent. It's still not taught. It's still not encouraged that failure is a good thing, and it's okay to be knocked down, because if you had just taken that and been like, not for me, gonna do something else, you wouldn't have gone on to do what you've done, and you might not be sitting here today with everything that you've accomplished. You probably would have done some other things, like knowing how you're wired, but it's that failure, it's that mindset that's really powerful. I like that a lot. So my next question for you is kind of, how do you go from that to then training hockey players? Like, it just seems like like completely different sports,
Yeah.
completely different, football, the martial arts, to how does that happen, and where's that jump?
Well, I mean, I always say there's a good chapter in my book. It's called Winning Isn't Everything, Wanting to Win Is. Because I think as an athlete, you're part of a team, but there's only certain players or people that, for instance, and it's just the way the nature of the game is like, will be the top guys. So one of my specialties that I wanted to bring out of people is to share the progress with others. And with the experiences that I've had throughout the martial arts, winning a gold medal, I thought that was amazing. So people are like, I said, fitness should be for everyone, not for just the elite, because it's what it's the energy, it's the persevering, it's the fear of failure, it's the courage, everything that goes along into this whole mixing funnel that uplifts everybody.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I wanted to do is work with hockey players, being a national sport here in Canada, because one of the missing links to, I think, to everybody that's trying to uplift people, is to really try to get into the mind of that person. So I always say, if your level of certainty on, let's say, trying to be the best football player or trying to make the NFL is a 4, and I really believe in you and mine is a 9, and I could bring you up to a 7 or an 8, well, chances are you're like, wow, I feel it now, and you're going to come and train with me believing that you can fulfill that dream. So one of the things I do, especially with a lot of the young hockey players, is really get into that mindset.
Yeah.
And I want to do that because I think everything stems from the mind. That's another reason why I wrote the book, Strong Mind, Lean Body. Like, well, you're a fitness guy. Why would you write a book like that? I said, because I'm not going to write another fitness book that shows lunges and squats and bicep curls. That's not what it's all about. It's about what your mind does and translates with the energy that you're getting, for instance, from the weights or any form of exercise.
I like
and that's
that a
the
lot.
key.
I like that a lot, what you said, with the energy of the weights and stuff, because people like to separate the mind and the body as if it's not one thing. And it's very powerful to, I hate using the word synergy, but the synergy there, it's very important to kind of tap into that. So what are some practical things you kind of do? Let's say you got a hockey player in front of you. It's a kid who, he's got all the talent in the world, but, up here, he just doesn't believe in himself. What do you do to kind of, sit down with him and kind of figure out, hey, what's your why? Tell me, like, why do you really want to do this?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is, we uplift the spirits. We make them believe. So let's say we're training them in the exercise, because we're training, we want to make sure we get the best out of them. So, for instance, let's say he can do a 30-second sprint. Well, we're not going to make him do a minute sprint because he's going to feel like he's failed. So what we do is we have positive reinforcement.
Okay.
We measure the weights that he or she lift with a great velocity, so they feel like, oh, wow, I can do this.
Yeah.
So for instance, I'll give you an example. So let's say you were doing a squat. Well, if I measured what you could do, let's say, for 80% of your 1 rep max, well, then what I would do is, rather than make you do 10 reps or 12, I would make you do 5, but I would make you do them fast, so you feel like, wow, this is great, I'm winning the race.
Okay.
Because in your mind, you got to always understand that, you've won, you did the best you can, and slowly but surely, I mean, some people with the A personality get it a lot quicker, and some people it takes a little bit longer, but that's where a trainer has to bring that best out of that person,
Right.
because I always say, if you can turn, like I remember in the martial arts days, I used to turn a C student into a B and a B into an A. An A student would be that one that was eager, showing up first, line up in front of the class.
Yeah.
And same thing with fitness. You know, they'll grab their weights, they kind of know what to do. Whereas that C guy's kind of like not sure, is uncertain. So it's always that positive reinforcement.
I like that.
You know, making sure that, you know, you're helping them out and encouraging them. Always reinforce. See that? You did it. You did it. You could do it. You could
Yeah.
do it. You got it, right? You got high five, give them that energy. Then they start to believe it. And then once they start to believe it, it's kind of like unleashing that animal that's inside them. Because I think everybody's got a little animal in them.
Yeah.
It's just really unleashing and find out what is that animal, you know, and then making the best out of it.
I like that a lot because, you know, a lot of what we're kind of given in the fitness space is negativity. Even if it's not branded that way, it's, you know, instead of saying, yes, you can do like, you know, this much more or this, it's like, you have to do 10. You must do this. Like, come on, you're better than that, blah, blah, blah. It's like just framing it in a more positive way. I think that's powerful. And
It's so powerful. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, words are powerful. I mean,
are.
we know that.
Yep.
You know, like, you know, look at the famous words, Sir Winston Churchill, never, never give up. Like these words will be around forever. And I think, you know, your mind and, you know, like I always say, you know, your tongue doesn't have any bones. So be careful when you say something because it really hits people deep in the heart.
Yeah.
You know, so words are very, very powerful. And as a trainer, a mentor, an entrepreneur, you always want to uplift. That's all. I mean, if it's nothing positive coming out of you, then you know what? You shouldn't really say anything because why bother, right? And people that are listening shouldn't even acknowledge that.
And that comes down a lot to things that we actually have in our own control, which is our attitude, how we interface with people that we meet every day. You meet a lot of people, and you know, this is not to talk down on anybody, but people who are just constantly complaining and nagging, and their energy sucks. You enter a room with these people, and they bring you down to their level, complaining about things such as the weather,
Right.
things that are out of our control. Whereas, you know, somebody who's positive will be like, yeah, it's raining, but I got a raincoat.
Exactly.
So let's go do whatever the fuck we were going to do anyways, right?
Exactly.
That's how I feel about
It's
it.
so
but,
true, you know?
I don't know. Like, that's how I've kind of been trying to rewire myself as well, because we all have moments of negativity and whatnot. I'm not saying I'm walking around perfectly positive all the time, but it's the attitude.
It is the attitude.
Yeah.
And you know, I tell a lot of people like that, I say, look, I mean, your brain, if you're the kind of person that would agree that what you're thinking, you're feeling, because you generate your thoughts with your feeling, right? You would say that?
Yep.
So the thing is if you agree with that, and if you look at the whole physiology and understand that we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts that go through our brain on a regular basis. The ironic thing is that 90% of those thoughts are the exact same thoughts. So if you wake up in the morning and you know, you always grab your same cup of coffee, and you know, you always kind of turn on the same side of your bed, your right side, and get up. Well, then you're associating that thought with a choice, because you're choosing. It's like, oh, here's the same cup. Again, you're always going to that same cup. You're associating that with a behavior that it's going to lead you after you have that coffee. Then you're associating that with an emotion. Oh, that coffee was good. Oh, that coffee was great. That coffee was so-so. Then you're associating it, you know, with an experience. Oh, I'm not going to have that again. Oh, maybe I'll have the other one.
Yeah.
So this is what goes on through people's mind on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, if you change your thoughts, you change your life. Try like what you just said. Oh, gosh, crappy day, it's raining again. What about, oh, great day. You know, it's great day to maybe listen to some chill music. Or I'm going to do some reading. You just change your thought patterns.
Yeah.
And the more I think people can do that, it becomes a habit. So what happens is when it becomes a habit, you deflect it right away to the point where you have all the naysayers or the bloodsuckers that you either, you know, leave the room and say, wait, I got to get a drink of water because you don't want to hear the bullshit. Or you just, you know, say, well, look at it this way, and try to kind of uplift them a little bit without being ignorant, or just kind of like, you know, really directing to their feelings, because sometimes you even lose friends or close people that you admire.
Absolutely.
And it's like, look, you know what? You're choosing to make your life the way it is. It's not like we're doing it.
Yeah.
You're choosing. If you want a happy life, you make it a happy life. If you want an unhappy life, well, you make it an unhappy life. Like, it's your choice.
It is your choice. That is, I mean, I couldn't put it in better words myself. I love that. So you know, you training with these hockey players, you're You've already done the martial arts thing, and now you decide that you want to open the Greco boutique fitness.
Right.
Let's talk about that story a little bit.
Yeah.
How did it come about? Did one day you just wake up and say, you know what, I want to make this a thing?
Yeah. Well, I did really well with my martial arts studio. I mean, on a financial reward, it was very rewarding. I was living at home. Me and my business partner, we made a lot of money. And I always say money's the results of the business. And really, I have to kind of, pat ourselves in the back because we ran a really good martial arts studio and we provided the value. When I transitioned into fitness, it was interesting, and talk about taking a risk, because at the time I had like 2 locations in Barrhaven. That was my first location in West End of Ottawa. I had a martial arts studio, then I had a kickboxing studio. So what happened was that kickboxing was kind of starting to overtake because there was a lot of, more mature, older women that were right into it.
Trying to get the cardio aspect.
Then what happened was, and this you're going to find interesting. So then what happened was I started to get really deep into the fitness because I wanted to become an Olympic trainer.
Right.
So I remember asking around. I said, look, what do I have to do to get my certifications? Like, I was running a business. So I hired this guy, Ed McNeely, who used to be a professor at Ottawa U, taught kinesiology, and he now does a lot of programs for peak performance, had an association called Sports Performance Institute.
Okay.
Really bright guy. So they said, you got to go through Sports Performance Institute. They're the only ones that give these certifications to train with these Olympic athletes. Sure enough, I hired the guy for like 6 months. We did all the theory, all the practical. It was very neat because I was the guinea pig. So I really learned how to transition the practical stuff with a client. So it was a bonus. It wasn't cheap, but it was worth every penny. And that's another, pointer that I can stress out and dish out to people is that, always focus on the value. Don't worry about the money.
The ROI.
The ROI. So then what happened was I said to my business partner, we're going to change cardio kickboxing. We're going to do this fitness stuff. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, we're going to do this circuit style training. I'm talking 22 years now.
Wow.
And it's like, people didn't like it at all. I lost 250 women. And
Jeez.
they went to 100% martial arts. And the owner there was calm. He's like, hey, thank you for this business, man. I was like, yeah, whatever. I mean, no problem. I'd rather them learn martial arts somewhere else because we wanted to do these fitness circuits. So sure enough, we had 4 people in the class. I remember after 2 months, we had almost like 50 students. And then we started like 4 stations and 6 stations and 8 stations. Then it just started to grow and grow and grow and grow, where we actually overpopulated that little area in Barrhaven.
Yeah.
So one of my personal training clients, he owns some land in Manotick.
Okay.
And he's like, listen, you know what? I got a great spot if you guys want to open up. And I mean, if you look at Manotick 22 years ago, there was like a farm and a few horses and, there wasn't much there, right?
Yeah.
So it was kind of risky, but again, I believed in what was going to happen because people wanted, this is something that people want because people want to live longer. So sure enough, opened up that location. We were doing $75,000 in like 6 months of being in business. And then it gets better. So my business partner has a client and he said to me, you're not going to believe this. He's like, this guy wants to buy the location. I'm like, what do you mean? What are we going to do? We just started this location.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this guy's serious. 2 weeks later, he brings his wife and his wife's like, okay, tell me all about this. I'm like, well, this is a boutique studio. We have a cool espresso bar. We transform bodies. We uplift spirits. We strengthen minds. That's our mantra. And I was like, this is what we do. And we teach fitness. So she looks at him and she's like, this is done in our office now. Picture this. We were like maybe 23. So they're like, she's like, well, honey, I guess you got your birthday wish. Signs a $350,000 check on the spot. So then
that's incredible.
It's crazy. Yeah. So then we had to make it official and go to the lawyer's office. And this guy brings a cameraman. It was like, his name is Sean James. He still owns the location today.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's
so
incredible.
It's crazy. So then what we did is we went to Canada and opened up because all our clients were like, you got to get to Canada. It's a rich area. All the hockey players' wives are there. You guys are going to love it, blah, 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 blah. Sure enough, we went there. We found a location. We opened up on Schneider Road.
Okay.
And we were doing like I remember the first year we're doing like 110,000 a month
Oh, wow.
gross.
Wow.
And my business partner was like, "Holy shit, this is great!
There's
I'm
really
gonna."
something here.
There's definitely, and then he went to open up his own.
Okay.
Because the partnership was like, it wasn't 50-50. We had a different split. So, anyways, he opened the one on Preston Street, Beach Street.
Right.
Then he sold that, and then what happened was that's when we started to franchise. So, overnight, like in like 2.5 years, we had 15 locations in Ottawa.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Wow.
And we sold.
How many are there now?
Now there's 11 here.
Yeah.
Because what happened was, once we got to 15 and we opened up one in Toronto.
Yep, I want to
Then,
talk about that one as
yeah,
well. Yeah.
And then my lawyer says, there's this company out of New York that wants to buy your brand. We're like, yeah, whatever kind of thing, right? Like, no, they deal with high-end boutiques. They're really keen. They love it. They see that you guys are growing. They look at the industry where it's going. And remember, like circuit training, like, I mean, I'm going to tell the truth. We actually were the first ones to start it, because I remember at the time, like 22 years ago, people thought I was crazy doing circuits. And now everybody's doing circuits, right?
Right. Well, you were ahead of the curve there, because at the time, everyone was probably just focused on either a lot of cardio or a lot of resistance training.
Yeah.
Greco kind of combined both. And for me, I mean, I personally even benefited from it. I was a member at Greco for 2 years. So
Wow.
the one in Orleans, the
Okay.
location over there. So
Yeah.
that's how I kind of got familiar with the brand beforehand. So I'm really excited to talk to you about this, because to me, everything you mentioned, from the espresso bar to the the greeting from the really friendly staff, and then you got these trainers and you got these 8 stations or whatever, what have you, for each class. It's always different. So that's something I wanted to talk to you about as well. So it's not like you're signing up for this circuit training and it's the same circuit every day and you get tired of it and you leave. It's different every day, and these trainers develop a different plan and demo it and display it for all these people who, you don't have to be an athlete, like what you said. It can be any person could come in and you could transform your body. So I'm a huge fan of it myself personally. I think it's a really interesting concept with the circuit training. But so how did you when you went to the franchise model, how did you ensure that everyone was following your philosophy, your brand, your Greco method,
Right.
what have you?
Well, they believed in it. They believed in it because what was happening is people were getting results. Everything is results based. I mean, the Greco method was created because most people want to come in and lose fat and get stronger and move better. So we're like, okay, well, what's the formula? Let's make them understand what body fat is, because people are like, I gotta lose 30 pounds. Like, wait a minute. Maybe it's not 30 pounds. Maybe it's 3% of body fat. So what do? Well, we get everybody now on this evil machine.
I tried that.
Yeah, and it's a bioscan.
It's badass. It tells you everything. Like literally, like the circumference of your calf.
Exactly.
The fat on your bicep,
Yeah.
on your waist girth. Like literally, like it tells you everything. Yeah.
And now that's why, especially for women, because I think they're a little bit hard on their body more than men anyways. So they're like, now it's like, oh wow, actually, you know what? I'm not in that bad of shape, or I'm really in bad shape. It has your biological age. So if you're like 30, but you're really in a body of 15 or 16, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
So it's the first step of people understanding that it really truly is about body fat. Then what we do is we have certain classes, like we have our strength classes,
Right.
which are very rep based, that give you a lot of power.
I was a huge fan of those.
Those are cool.
Yeah.
And
Me
then,
being a bigger dude and football background, I'm
Yep.
like, you know what? I don't like all these crazy bonuses in between rounds and just 10 extra burpees and killing
Exactly.
myself with all this cardio. Yeah, I get it benefits me, but I just want to lift some weight.
yeah.
And
that's why,
is great.
And strength is
Yeah.
great. So especially women, it was hard to kind of let them realize, it's like, oh, listen, you're not going to get big with the strength. You're actually going to build some dense muscle, which is going to burn fat.
Mm-hmm.
So now with the power of the internet and power of these podcasts that we educate people,
Yep.
what happens is these women are like, this is really cool. And now it's kind of a cool thing to look strong, which I admire,
Absolutely.
because it's real. Then we had the HIIT classes, which provide the high intense interval training.
Those are great.
Yeah. So we basically designed a game plan for our clients, which gave them ultimate results. And then what happens is because it gives them ultimate results, they're going out there and they're sharing this process. Like, I did this program, nothing worked like Greco because of this, and that. So it's, I always think is that whatever it is that you do, you have to put together a formula that works.
Yeah.
And if it works and there's a value tied into that,
Yeah.
it's a no-brainer. You're going to win at whatever it is that you're doing.
That's an important business lesson there as well for anybody listening who's just interested in the world of business as well. What you did is that you started with martial arts, and that worked really well, and you used that, but then you thought about the customer. At the end of the day, it's about the customer,
Totally.
the client, giving them value. It reminds me of the story of Netflix and how they started off just shipping DVDs, I think, to places, and then next thing you know, they take over Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Like, they listened to the customer. They knew what the customer wanted before they even knew they wanted it. So
Totally.
that's why I think Greco's a great business. And
Well, thank
it's
you.
expanding now to Toronto and the greater Toronto. You have 4 locations.
We have 4 locations in Toronto.
Yeah.
We're looking at other locations, even in PI. So
Okay.
and then we're gonna eventually hit to the bigger markets in the States, like New York, Los Angeles, Nashville, the A markets.
Nice.
So it's really exciting to see the brand grow because I remember 22 years ago, being involved in actually the growth of it. And I said, you know what, one day we're gonna have so many locations. And it's funny because people are like, oh, well, it's easy for him to say that now. But like, I truly visualize this because I'm really big on vision. And then if I could share something with people is that whatever you see and you have a clear vision of what you want to do, write it down, see it every day, put actions towards that. And, are there going to be detours? Yes. Are there going to be ups and downs? Yes. Are you going to get your ass kicked? Yes. You need to get back up and keep going. It's there for you. It's designed. This whole universe is designed for you not to fail and for you to persevere and chase your dreams, whatever it is that you're trying to chase.
I'm a big believer in that, visualization and having, visions and creating smart goals and actually following through with them. A previous guest of mine on the podcast even said something powerful. It's like, be 1% better every day. And that ties into that, every day make one kind of positive choice and change, and that flows into what you're talking about with the habits as well. Instead of rolling over to your side of your bed and just being grumpy, groggy, going into work, maybe you get up a couple hours early and you go to a 6 a.m. class at Greco or something.
Well,
you maybe not even Greco. You could go out and just go for a run or do something positive.
Totally. Well, you know what? This is the simplest thing. This is the method that I share because training with athletes, it's always about winning and losing, right? So I go, look, you know what? If it's one thing, like 1%, that's great. If it's 2, if it's 3, yourself on how much you could focus on a regular basis. Let's say it's 3 things. Let's say it's your health. Let's say it's, going to work and making good money. And let's say it's changing your eating habits. Okay, that's pretty easy. I think everybody can count to 3, right? So what you do is every day, and you could take your calendar for this, you mark down a little box and you have a W and an L, which stands for win, loss. So then you check that off. So at the end of the day, you're like, okay, did I go to the gym today? Oh, shoot, no. You know what? What about, did I work and enjoyed what I did today? Yeah, I thought I was pretty productive. Okay, what about eating? I didn't have a good breakfast. The lunch was okay. So then at night, you take that moment. So let's say you didn't go to the gym. It's like, look, I'm here right now, present, right here in this moment. I'm going to start doing some push-ups. I'm going to feel better about myself. So that loss, there would have been that loss, you change it to a W because it's going to be a win.
That's
well,
powerful.
at the end of the month, you huddle up like a pro team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, you know what? We haven't won that many games. We got to change our formula. So you do that as an individual person every day. You're now focused. You're planning. Your mind is in tune to winning all the time. So it doesn't accept loss because you're putting these habits, this miracle growth. Yes, you're programming it.
Yeah.
So that way, it's like you're not accepting losing, and you're going to do whatever it takes to win. And you'll see that this is the kind of changes you need to do to stay positive and persevere and continue to grow.
I couldn't agree more. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about Greco from a marketing perspective. One of my good buddies, shout out to Hayden at Cash and Marketing.
Great guy.
Yeah. You work with him as well on the marketing side. Talk about how you came about, how you met with him, and this relationship.
Well, I love marketing because I think, everything you do is selling, even though you don't realize it. Like when we came in, you're like, hey, you guys want a cup of coffee? I'm just brewing it right there. It's like that to me is selling. It's like you're telling me your coffee is pretty good and let's try it. So what happened was when I sold my business, I marketed a lot to get to the level that I got to. And I believe that you should always put money into marketing yourself or your business. What I didn't understand is the back end stuff. And what happened was I went out there and I searched, Hayden, who just does a lot of the back end stuff, which search engine optimization and just really
The Facebook ads.
That to me, I don't know how to do. But what I do know how to do is take a small business and grow it and turn it to like a $10,000 venture loan into a $10 million sale.
Right.
Because I've been through it. I've been through the multiples. I've been through like the acquisitions. I've been through like what you need to do. And one thing you need to do is establish a brand. Mm-hmm. So now it's amazing because we've taken some small businesses, like we deal with, one that I don't really want to mention on the air.
That's fine.
But it's like, well, tell me your purpose. Give me your elevator pitch. Yeah. Why am I coming to see you? And they're like, well, because, we have good food. And I was like, no, everybody says that. Tell me why. Tell me why I'm coming. Well, I get my food from, I'm like, oh, it's getting better. So the thing is not everybody understands the purpose, why they are in business.
And the
differentiate. Like people always look at business. Oh, why'd you get into business? I want to make money. No, money's a result. That's not why you shouldn't think that's why you got into business. Money's a result. If I got into business for money at the time, I would have probably been bankrupt because I did a lot of stuff without money. But I had a passion. I had a dream. I knew the product was working. I knew that people would come if you provided a value because that's what they needed. So if you have a passion and there's a value there and people see it, money will come automatically. But if you think of the money first, you're going to drown.
Right.
And that's just me. That's my prerogative because I've experienced people are like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, look, I did it. So this is my experience and my story to you. Now, you might have a different story. But I could tell you about asking a lot of entrepreneurs that have failed, got back up, failed back up. A lot of them did it because they focused on the value. Mm-hmm. They just believed in so much on what they were trying to do that people sensed that and, saw the value and bought into it. So going back to Hayden is that, once we paint the picture, it's easy for him to say, okay, why does this person want to be this? Because they want to do this, this, and that. Great. Now, how are we going to pitch it? Well, I do this and I do that. Okay, what is it that you do? Oh, you just happen to be a guy that does this. So let's position it on why, and then we'll go forward.
Love that. How do you train people, who are entrepreneurs themselves, business owners or what have you? How do you train them to think in terms of value instead of thinking in terms of, price or money of things?
Well, I do this simple drill when I ask them. I say, because I do a lot of motivational speaking, and one of the things I talk about is, who are you and what is it that you want? Because most people don't know what they want.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I want to retire and have a lot of money. Okay, how much money? Well, you just told me you want to retire. Is it $1 million? Is it $2 million? Is it 500,000? Is that what is it? Because what makes you happy doesn't necessarily make me happy or someone else happy. So find that number, put a realistic time on it, depending on your age, because you can't buy time no matter how much money you have. And then we can show you the direction to get there. So let's say it's that. What about your health? On a scale of 1 to 10, is a 1 being the worst, 10 being the best? What is it? Is it a 5? What about if it was a 7? Well, how would that change your life now? Yeah. Would it make you, your goal, get your goal a little bit faster? What about your relationship? Are you in one? Is it rocky? Is it shaky? Is it okay? So you do these little, mind drills in your mind. And it's like, look, if you're a 1, let's say you're involved in a relationship and a 10 being the best, 1's being the worst. Let's say it's a 4. Well, if you make that a 7, how is that going to change?
Yeah.
We're going to be in
and
a better.
What would it take to get there?
And what would it take to get there? So you just keep continuing to do that, and things start to change because success breeds success, and you start to gain this momentum where you're on a high, you have more energy, and you make better choices, you feel better, and that creates energy around the people around you as well.
Okay, this is fantastic. I mean, I think people are going to gain a ton of value
Yeah,
from that.
thank you.
And that's why you're such a good motivational speaker and whatnot. I want to actually talk about motivation for a second, because it's something that I play with in my own head in terms of how important it is to actually get things done. To me, I'm the type of person, as most people are, you see a pump up video. You see, when I played football, I'd watch big hits before a game or something. And I'd watch that, and I get this little temporary, pump up. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
That fades away pretty quickly. When you get out on the football field, it's snowing, sideways, raining, your leg hurts, all this negativity. Now the motivation's gone. Now it's discipline and just, internal drive that's actually keeping me going. What do you think is the role of motivation, and how long can that sustain your candle, like going through your fitness journey? Because I mean, Greco's big on motivation. I get it. But there are times when all the motivation in the world is it's not gonna bring me to the gym. You know.
And you know what? It comes down to one thing, and that's how bad do you really, really, really want it? Motivation. And it's funny you mention that, because I go to these like Anthony Robbins seminars, and you're right. Everybody's wired up. Adrenaline's going for a week and then fades because of two things. One, they're not your goals. They're not realistic. And two, you're not working your friggin' butt off every day, putting actions to those thoughts.
Right.
So motivation comes down to seeing, believing, like having a clear vision of what you really, really, really want. These are my three biggest things in order. Number one is seeing this vision. It's like whatever it is that you're trying to get or be, I see it every single day. I dream it. I sleep it. I breathe it. I do it out every day. Number two is that I want to manage my state, meaning that if I'm having a crappy day, I got to change it to a good day. People are like, well, how do you do that? Well, it takes practice. It's you have meditation involved in that. Yeah. So you erase that chalkboard that's in your mind that you're holding on to that negative thought, and you call someone that's going to be positive attitude. I mean, we could go on and give the whole list of what you can and cannot do.
Right.
But you're going to manage your state so that what you're saying out of your mouth is always positive. So again, it becomes an instant habit. And then number three is really having that true belief, like really believing, like feel like I want to be the best hockey player and I want to make the NHL. How, do you really believe that? What is it that you're doing? What is the action? Or are you just saying it? And then what are you doing every day? Because I always say to people, you need to put 10,000 hours into being the best that you can be. How many have you put in so far? Yeah. Okay, well, start going, because you got a long road. Yeah. So it's working. It's just working. People don't understand. It takes work and work and work. Everybody looks at the glory of Greco and what's happened in this sale. But, man, I could tell you stories that'll make you cry and it'll make you discouraged and it won't make you go into business. Like selling my car at 17 that I worked my ass off. But then guess what? The reward is that I got my dream car at 22. Delaying
the gratification.
Not being able to pay rent for 3 months. My business partner sold his Harley Davidson. See, people don't look at the sacrifice after sacrifice with a little bit of enthusiasm.
They just want to see the shiny thing.
Everybody wants to see the shiny
end result.
Exactly.
They think they're just going to wake up.
Exactly.
It also speaks to the entitlement that a lot of people kind of feel. And, it's not to speak negative about people, but just this. A lot of people feel like they're entitled to, what? I like business. I like training. I like martial arts and stuff. I'm going to be the next Tony Greco. How am I going to do that? Well, if I'm not doing the things that you're doing, making the sacrifices that you made, it's going to be pretty fucking tough.
It is. Yeah. It is. And that, you know what? And I mean, part of it is, again, now upbringing, like being a parent, having two daughters is like, we had no choice when we came to Canada, because it was like, hey, listen, we're living in a small home, and it's like we're not rich and we're poor, so you either sink or you rise. Mm-hmm. So you had no choice but to get out there and work your ass off. and make a better living for yourself, knowing that your parents that don't speak the language sacrificed and came to a new country.
Yeah.
That's pretty tough.
Yeah.
So when people are like, "Whoa, you think you have a bad, like, look how bad this situation is." But the thing is, you make the best out of that worst situation.
Yeah.
The issue is now is that you said it. A lot of the young generation, they feel that they can just get things like that. They don't have to work for it, but it's not that easy. And part of it is because we're stuck because you've worked so hard. Now you want to share this progress with others. So if you were brought up in a house that was really small and now you're buying a big estate home and your kids are being brought up in that, what incentive is that going to do? Now some people might look at the other way and say, you think my parents have a big house? I'm gonna get even a bigger house. You hope that that's what they want.
Yeah.
But are they really truly ready, and are they prepared to fail? Are they prepared to get their face knocked down and face punched, their jaw broken and their ribs broken?
Yeah.
Like, are they prepared for the pain?
It all comes back to the accepting failure.
Exactly.
I love that. And so I think one of the main themes of everything you've been discussing so far really boils down to self-awareness, because you seem to have a high level of self-awareness. You really do know what you're doing. And, even in the moment when, you might not know that selling your car or not paying rent is going to work out, you have that self-awareness and you had that belief. So that's super powerful. You mentioned meditation. Do you meditate? How do you practice mindfulness? And this kind of stuff?
It's actually been pretty easy, and I think the more you do it, the better it is. And I remember back, in the early days, people were like meditation, and everybody thought, you close your eyes and you chant Om, or but it's like, no, like meditation is just taking that moment to take, deep breaths. And I think the first thing in the morning, my meditation is really simple. It's 10 deep breaths and being grateful and rewarding myself that I'm alive. Because I always tell people, look, tomorrow morning, 200,000 people are on their last breath. Damn. You're still breathing. Don't think it's hard, and erase all the tension. I know it's tough. People are like, it's tough. But if you constantly feed the brain, again, it's an exercise you're going to get really good at. If you want to be good at punching and you punch every day, your punches are going to be better. Well, if you want to get your muscle in tune, you work your biceps in the gym, you work your legs in the gym, work your friggin' mind. Take the time to take that moment to yourself. 10 deep breaths if you want to start, where you start to relax deep down from the diaphragm. It'll probably take you like maybe 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Say a little message to yourself on how grateful you are because you're alive, and you're like, look at, you could kick ass and get out there and make things happen. And that way everything else is good. So when you encounter someone, those people that have a reasoning for everything, right? Those reasoning people, oh, my back or this, you know what? You're grateful because you are alive and you don't have issues. And that's really important. So,
and keeping things in perspective.
Yeah.
Too.
So, I mean, deep breathing for me works because it's easy.
Yeah.
I know people that get really deep into the state, but I think the breathing is the most important thing, and it's easy for me. But I want to get into it so much more because I want to let my subconscious mind take over the conscious mind and really get deep into it because I want to feel it.
It's not that deep, guys. Had to throw that in there.
That's right.
Had to throw that in there. That's amazing. It's something I'm personally working on. The meditation, I struggle with it. I try to do the deep breathing, and I might do 2 or 3 minutes, and then I let all the thoughts come in and distract me. It's something I'm working on.
So here's a tip.
Yeah.
Use a visual movie in your mind.
Okay.
Like a prime example is, people have a hard time sleeping.
Yeah.
So visualize like when you went on vacation and, you're lying on the beach.
This blissful
Yeah.
moments.
And then you're just like, you feel the ocean. So you're like, as you breathe in, you're thinking that water's coming into like shore, and then you're exhaling and you let go. And then every time you go in and out, you just connect with your body where it's like, you feel your shoulders dropping, then your fingers expand. And it's like, you're just, and it's going to be
releases,
tension releases. Now it's going to be hard because your mind's going to drift, but bring it back to center.
I love that.
And the more and more you do, and it's just one scenario. I mean, because everybody relaxes on a beach. That's why when you go away, as soon as you get off that airplane, you're so relax, and it's like, what changed? We just brought you from here to here, and everything is like, because you're in the moment, you really feel it and see it.
That's so powerful, man. I love that. I'm going to try to apply that for sure. Let's switch gears to nutrition a bit.
Okay.
I hope you have time. Let's cover that a little bit.
For sure.
Because that's, as we know, a very big component of your body composition is how you feed your body. And so talk to us about your like nutritional regimen. Are you counting calories? Are you low carb? What does Tony Greco eat?
Yeah. Chris, I pretty much eat food because food is fuel. And, it's a great question and I'm glad you asked, because a lot of my clients, a lot of people that come to our establishment, they're always following a diet. And I always say, look, you know what? I'm going to make it really simple. I eat everything, but it's what I eat. I eat, 5 times a day. Like we just had lunch 3 hours. We're going to go eat again after this. But it's like the palm of your hand is going to be, the portion of some source of protein, because your body needs that protein because it's branching amino acids, get into the bloodstream, and it builds muscle. I call it the Lego blocks. You get more muscle. More muscle burns more fat. More muscle takes a lot more time to digest those calories, because I don't want to count calories. Then my carbohydrates is going to come mostly from greens. I love vegetables. So it's going to come mostly from greens. Then you put some good fats in there. You have a good balanced meal. Then, you know what? You reward yourself with a glass of wine, because that's one of my favorite on the weekend. I cheat too. I have like vanilla cone. I love that.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. I even mentioned it in my book because I am human. But I've learned to balance stuff, because I don't want to stop my body from not getting fuel, where it's like, low carbs, high fat, or high protein, low carbs, or keto diet, or it's still a diet. It's like, look, we work on a 24-hour clock. It's really simple. We have 2 sources of fuel, glucose and glycogen. So they come from, food sources. So you need that. But it's what you eat. So if I said, look, drive your car to Toronto, well, chances are it'd probably take you 4 hours. You're probably going to stop at 2-3 gas stations, depending on what engine you have in your car. Well, our body works on a 24-hour clock. So why are we limiting our body of calories?
Right.
Why? Because we're trying to lose weight? But then what about, is it weight or is it fat? Like weight, I could just starve you for a week and you'll lose a lot of weight. Doesn't mean you're going to be healthy.
No,
so
this will come all right back. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what people have to understand. Let's say 2 things. Educate yourself. Food is fuel. You need it to rebuild, repair, and burn a fat from the foods that you're eating.
But you say educate yourself. Where does someone start with this abundance of information out there, abundance of people trying to sell them on the next best diet, or this eating pattern, or do this is a proven method, or everyone's got some opinion on it. So how do you educate yourself in a world full of noise?
Well, one of the things people can do is, you could be self-taught. Like I worked at a medical clinic for a while. And I mean, I've listened to a lot of nutritionists, and it's tough because they're in that category where, because they're nutritionists, everybody thinks that they're smart, right? And even doctors. But if you look at doctors, they only have two hours of nutrition as part of their course. I had so many doctors come and see me about meal plans.
Yeah.
So, I believe that self-educated will really, give you,
and then experiment.
And
see
experiment.
What works for you and what doesn't work for you.
Yeah, because you know what? Like, I mean, you could take it one step further and, I mean, do food intolerance tests, do like DNA testing.
Yeah.
There's so many resources out there right now, and I'm not trying to scare people, but if you really want to get to the nitty gritty of it, everybody knows what's good and what's not good, right?
Yeah,
I mean, let's
true.
face it. Like, I mean, everybody knows sugar and sweets is garbage, and whole foods are great.
People might be in denial about
Exactly.
it.
It's like,
I deserve this, or
I mean,
little
it goes
rationalizations here and there. Yeah.
And if you're everybody that's growing up, they always say, mom, dad, eat your vegetable, eat your fruits. So there's a reason for that. So eat them, and then, people grow this stuff in their garden right now. And they were doing that, hundreds of years ago. And it's doing a full circle.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's important. Eat a lot of whole foods,
right?
And don't limit yourself. I mean, calories. I have some of my athletes eating 5,600 calories just to maintain their muscle.
Jeez.
And people are like, I can't eat that much. I'm like, no, they're eating that much and they're actually just maintaining.
Yeah, they're training so much that it kind of, and their metabolism. There's so many different like factors that play.
Oh, so much.
Is it true you are a plant-based vegan?
I did it for about 5 years.
Okay.
So I just started introducing a little bit of meat
Animal
and
protein back in
yeah,
there.
and You know what? I gotta admit that when I was doing it religiously, I definitely had a lot more energy. I
Okay.
felt great. You know, the challenge was getting a lot of the protein,
Right.
because I could only eat so many chickpeas and, tofu, and it was just tough.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, like, the feeling is amazing.
You
Never
feel
felt
great.
bloated. Felt lean. Felt like a gazelle. Like
Okay.
your moods would even be
More
better.
clarity. I've heard some
More
people have more like,
more clarity and more relaxed,
Okay.
and I mean, I know this might sound funny, but I know a lot of the yoga people that, and now vegetarians, that's why they're kind of like, everything's really mellow, hey, namaste.
Yeah.
It's like there's no like, "Ugh," like there's no
Yeah,
like,
yeah, rage. It's like,
yeah.
yeah.
And I think people that, eat meat a lot,
Uh-huh.
really tend to have that rage. So I mean, I'm still pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't. It's not like it's the first thing I look for.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm in a situation where I have to,
Yeah.
I will. But I still prefer, a lot of the vegetable.
That's
and
awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the cool thing about it is that, you could graze all day long. Like you look at a deer or a moose, like their whole percentage of body fat's like 6%.
Yeah.
And you could go literally to a department or
Yeah.
a store and get like, bushels of cucumbers and start eating them all day long.
Right.
And you're not going to be fat. How cool is that? It's crunchy. It's tasty.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's not that hard to do.
Right. It's that little transition period. If you've been eating meat your whole life, I
Yeah.
mean, you're gonna crave it for a bit, but then getting off it. I mean, I'm from an Indian background.
Yeah. So you guys, a lot of vegetables.
Like growing up, my mom still to this day, she doesn't eat any meat.
Great.
And so all the food that she makes most of the time is vegetarian dishes.
Yeah.
I'm never hungry.
Yeah.
I went there for lunch
Loving
today.
your
and,
food.
dude, I didn't have a piece of meat, and it was fantastic. I'm still full, and I ate like 11.
Yeah.
So
Good.
I mean, like, there's so many different ways to do it, but that's what I'm talking about. The variation. It's just
Well, people have to try it and
Yeah.
experiment. Like I did it because I was influenced by a documentary called Earthlings. It was
Okay.
by Joaquin Phoenix. And I'll tell you, if you're listening, you want to change. We looked at it as a family like, oh my gosh. And then the next day it's like, and it's great because even my kids
Yeah.
and, like their skin, I think everything's a lot better. I mean, you'll see. If you could try an experiment, take a picture, do it for a month, even 2 months, and pictures tell the story. And I'll tell you, you're going to feel pretty good. People are like,
Yeah.
what about your strength and stuff? I'm like, my strength went up. Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
That's crazy.
An ox doesn't eat meat. They're like, you're strong as an ox. An ox doesn't eat meat.
That's okay. I mean,
You know?
it says it all right there, man. Let's talk about your book a little bit while we still have some time here.
Sure.
Talk to me about it. What made you, on top of all the things you're already doing, write a book?
I wanted to write the book for one reason, and that's to uplift and share the progress with others. My whole goal was to be the best I can be and trying to achieve this objective. And, going through obstacles that kind of really hinder, your positive growth. And I think everybody goes through that on a regular basis. They get up, they get put down, they hit the wall.
Life
they get
happens.
Life happens.
Yeah.
But I wrote the book so people can read it and go, wow, that happened to me. And that's how I got through it. There's a lot of stories in there that take you back. It's not really about me. It turns it back to you, the reader, because it's like, they'll be like, remember a time in your life where you might have had this situation. And all of a sudden you think back and it's like, oh, wow, this is the solution to that problem. So if you focus 90% on the solution, it's never a problem anymore. But it starts with the mind. So that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book, is so that I can really share that progress with others and hopefully uplift somebody's spirit to make a different change in their life.
Where
and then
can
I've done my
people
job.
find this?
You could go to Amazon. You can go to strongmindleanbody.com
Okay.
and order it. You can go to my website, tonygrecotg.com, and order it. And I mean, I always say, when people need a little bit of uplifting, it's just another self-help book
Yep.
that I use fitness and my life experience to uplift somebody's dream.
That's fantastic. I think some people are definitely going to gain value from that for sure. Before we end off here, like I wanted to ask you if you've got any advice for aspiring personal trainers or those aspiring to pursue the fitness industry as a career path. What have you got to say to them? And you were mentioning a new style of training before this
Yeah.
podcast. I don't know if you want to share.
Yeah, no, I can share it for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
one of the things that I can share, because I work with a lot of personal trainers, and I think personal trainers are great because I don't think there's anyone that wants any of their clients to fail because it's a reflection of their work, really. But what I think can improve is the mind, because people are usually coming to see you because they can't do it themselves, and they need the motivation, and they need the inspiration, and they need to always kind of change a negative to a positive.
Right.
So, and that takes just experience. It takes understanding your client. So it also makes you different because some people don't do that. So personal training really never ends, because they're like, the client it looks at you as, the mentor, the doctor, the psychiatrist. Like you become that after a certain amount of days and weeks of working with them.
They unload on you.
Yeah, they unload, and you have to absorb that. And I think some people can take it, some people can't.
Right.
So if you're that person that can take it, you're gonna do a lot better than the person that can't take it.
Interesting.
The other thing is that if you educate people, that's another thing that trainers, I feel, just from what I see in the industry, is they don't educate. They're like, yeah, well, we're going to do squat and you're going to bend your knees 90 degrees and
not tell them why.
And squat and not tell them why. And then ask them, how do you feel? Are you feeling on the left side? And part of that is because a lot of trainers don't do it themselves. I never address an exercise to my clients or my athletes that I can't do or haven't done.
Okay.
Because I want to feel it first. So one of the things that I did is I started to follow this guy, Kyle Dees, and this guy, Ben Peterson, who is the fitness director of the Philadelphia Flyers, because I work with Claude Giroux, the captain.
Yep.
And this guy wrote a book, Tri-Phase Training. He's a doctor, and he was explaining to me some of the stuff. I'm like, wow. He goes, well, you do it. I go, what do you mean I do it? He's like, all trainers do it. Because they all have their clients doing eccentric movements, isometric movements, and concentric movements. The problem is that most people are always in the concentric phase. So what I tell people is that picture you buying a vehicle that's a 5-cylinder supercharged, and you're always using just first and second gear. You're never using the other gears. It's like, why not? Because you haven't been exposed to that. So when you take a client and you put them through 3 phases of training, you start with the eccentric, which is the slow tempo down. So what that does is, if you're doing a squat, you would take 5 seconds to go down and then you'd explode up. What you're doing through that phase is that you're doing a few things. Number one is you're remodeling the muscle tissue. You're also creating an immune system response because your brain's going, holy cow, Tony, be careful. This is going to be like you're almost pulling your muscle. So the white blood cell count goes up. The head of that muscle is tensing more. And then you're rebuilding and you're almost tearing it. But here's the best. After 2 weeks of that, guess what happens? Now it's more dense. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start the movement on the bottom because we're going to get into the isometric phase. So the squat, you would start at 90 degrees, hold it for 3 seconds, then push it up. Because the muscle is more dense during the first week, you could resist it. So they say if you could stop it, you could push it. So let's say you're coming at me and I'm like knocking myself over. Chances are I'm not going to be able to push you as fast. But if you're coming at me and I completely stop you, chances are I'm going to push you faster. So when you do this in the concentric phase, now that muscle's more dense. In the short contraction of the iso phase, it's become more dense. It could push more. You could deliver more force and power out of an athlete. Now, you don't have to be an athlete. That's the cool thing about this. You could just be a person that's training.
Yeah, and you can apply it to anything. A bicep curl, anything, any kind of exercise where you're doing any kind
exercise,
of
any program,
Wow.
you can apply to it. And that's why I say to people, look, don't think it's my theory. Let's measure the results. So if you're with your trainer and your trainer has you doing this, ask them, what are we measuring? Are we measuring strength? Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's do your philosophy for 2 weeks. Then let's do this philosophy for 2 weeks. If we see that the client is making tremendous gains, then the proof is in the pudding. I had my athletes test June 8th on the hex bar squat. I'll give you their test. 332, 1 rep max, 393, 1 rep max, 320, 1 rep max, 319, 1 rep max. Okay. We test those same clients August 31st. The 393, 1 rep max, 570. That was Claude Giroux. I have it on video. Jeez. You can actually see it on the NHL website.
That's nuts.
Another guy, Ben Hutton, who's a player, plays for the Los Angeles Kings, 540. Ty Fellhaber, 500. Jason Atkinson, 540. These guys are the ones who were 319, 325, 393.
That's lifting up a whole nother me.
Since June 8th.
That's
So
nuts.
when I see these kind of, measurements, it's like, look, it's not my theory. It's like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is what we're measuring.
Wow.
The amount of force and power that you generate from an athlete. So imagine applying that force and energy to an everyday average person who wants to be in shape. They're going to be like running faster, focusing more, a lot harder to knock off their feet if they're playing any recreational sports, whatever it is. So I'm really fascinated with this stuff, and that's kind of the way I train everybody. I get 80% of their 1 rep max. I start with a lot of compound movements to get their pillar strength. I do these 6 weeks, 10-week phases, depending on how long they need. Then I add the functional power. So what I'll do is I'll mix that with French contrast. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No, I'm not.
So it's by a French scientist, Gilles Gometti. He tested how athletes and animals move really quickly. So it'll be like, let's say you do squats at 80% of your 1 rep max. I get you to do 5 reps. Then automatically I get you to grab a pair of dumbbells and do like jump squats, but only 30% of your 1 rep max. Then I get you to the assisted jump squats, so you're getting that muscle to work with the nervous system, so it reacts really quickly.
Jeez.
So everything is a jump, boom, explosive.
And you see a lot of that in Greco workouts as well.
That's
similar
Obviously, stuff in the
obviously
method.
not as personalized, and
Right.
but that's intense. I like that a lot. I think people are gonna get a lot of value from that. This has been amazing, man. What's next for Tony Greco?
Well, next is going to be I'm going to really expand the hockey culture, because I've been getting a lot of scouts and GMs that are recognizing the hard work. They're seeing the players on the ice get better faster, and it's a real high to take that client that's like kind of on the bottom to be in the NHL and chase their dream. And what I want to do is I want to tie in the motivational speaking with some life coaching,
Right.
because I just don't want to be the guy on stage motivating. I also want to be the guy in the trenches still feeling it.
Right.
So I want that balance of the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what people encounter in their everyday life on a regular basis.
But then how do you find time to balance all this, man? I mean, I'm sure you get this question a lot,
Yeah.
but the people need to know, because I'm just sitting here talking with you. Your brain's firing on all cylinders. You want to, I bet you wish you had like 10 clones of you to do even more things. How do you balance it all, man?
Well, you got to stay focused, and you got to have fun. Because going to work for me is not really a job. Like I look forward to it. I hang out with the guys. We have a coffee. We have a smoothie after. Like it's fun.
Yeah.
It's rewarding. I mean, I always tell people, even if I won $60 million tomorrow, I'd still really be doing it, because I think that's truly what I love to do.
Yeah.
And then uplift people is the other one. So it becomes an easy transition for me. And I always say, do 1 or 2 things and do them well, and you'll be really good at it. I think if you do more than that, then you're scattering yourself all over the place, because no matter who you are or what you do, I mean, there's only so much you can do, and you're totally right? Because
Yeah.
you need a little bit of balance.
Love it. This has been an amazing podcast. Before I let you go, I do something with all my guests at the end called the lightning round. Basically, just rapid fire questions. I'm going to ask you 5. You don't have to rush to answer or anything, but let's just go for it. Let's just
Okay.
dive right in. So, what's your favorite piece of exercise equipment?
Would be the Hex bar squat bar.
Hex bar. Oh, I love that thing.
Yeah.
It's like open, and
Yeah.
like, for people who don't know, it's just a better way to.
It's a better way to do squats, because less pressure on the spine.
Yeah.
It loads the legs, so it's mostly glutes and hips.
Yeah.
And our A-frame is that.
Deadlifts, right? Not squats.
That's right.
Or both.
Both.
Okay. How
Yeah.
do you do a squat with
So
that?
you squat down, you have the handles on
you
the
just,
side.
Okay, you just basically it would be like having a dumbbells to the side almost.
Exactly.
Simulating that movement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
and the
that's
good-
safer for people. Why?
It's safer because what it does is it brings your hips down. You have no choice because you're hanging onto that bar.
Right.
And what it does is aligns your spine. So it's almost like a dummy-proof exercise that when you're lifting, it keeps your core engaged. You're just basically standing up with it.
Love it.
Yeah. So it's less of a chance of injuring yourself than the actual back squat. I think it takes technique when you're doing the back squat.
Love it. Who motivates you? You spoke about Tony Robbins before, but who motivates you? Who is it that inspires you?
Well, I mean, there's a few people that inspire me. I like athletes. I mean, Michael Jordan was a big inspiration, mentor, Wayne Gretzky, and now my actual client, Claude Giroux.
Yeah.
Because it's just his mindset. I can't describe it. Like, this guy hates to fail. He will go through anything. And for a guy that's done what he's done, I mean, his skill is one thing, but his mind
Yeah.
is the reason why he's actually there.
And you've been working with him on
14
a personal level.
years.
14 years.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
real
amazing
relationship.
it's amazing what this guy has done. It
That
really
goes
is.
way beyond training.
Way, way beyond.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Describe your go-to cheat meal.
Go-to cheat meal would be either like Chinese food or Bottega panini.
Love it.
Mortadella.
Love it. That's awesome. Yeah, you are Italian
That's
after all, right? You're not just going to give that.
Mortadella with provolone cheese once a month or once a week.
There you go. There you go. Love it. What is the worst advice you hear out there that people are giving young people?
Oh, don't do that. You can't do it. Well, you got to be careful because that is impossible. It's like, man, that's so bad. You know what I mean? Like, what about just say, hey, are you happy doing that? Go for it. Yeah, that's great. Even if in your own mind you think that it's not right, why would you stop somebody else's, wish or dream? Man, like, I don't like those words, can't, or, all that kind of stuff.
Love it, man. You just radiate positivity. I love that. I'm so motivated right now. Last and final question on the podcast today. What is the best piece of business advice you have ever gotten?
The best piece of business is that I ever got is that, you know what, have the passion. Go on passion. Don't just do things because you want to do it. And I'll never forget that. It's like, you know what, if you have a passion for whatever you do. I remember a good friend of mine, my buddy Todd, he said, you know what, if you had a passion of selling hot dogs at a corner with a hot dog stand and you really believe that those hot dogs and that was your passion, you're going to probably do well.
Yeah.
So have a passion for what it is that you want to do.
Boom.
And you're just going to be that much further.
And that's what this podcast is all about, man. Talking to people such as yourself who are pursuing their passions. I love it so much. Just remember, guys, it's not that deep. Tony, where can people find you? Websites?
Yeah, they can go to my Instagram,
Yeah.
Tony Greco TG. My website is tonygrecotg.com. And Twitter's Tony Greco TG.
Awesome.
Yeah. So now that my new nickname is TG.
TG. Love it. All right, guys, it's not that deep. Thank you so much, Tony.
Thank you.
Have a good one. I really enjoyed that podcast with Tony. He brought such an amazing energy. He had so much to talk about. And I'm really motivated right now. And I hope you are motivated to subscribe to my podcast on all platforms, including YouTube, contributing to my Patreon page, or just hitting me up. Let's start a dialogue. It's not that deep.